So we have Spencer and Taylor Brown here. Do you guys want to just give us a little quick intro into, how you started your Sharetown journey, who you are, where you're at, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think so I had moved over to Bellevue, Washington from um, the central part of the state. And when we are moving into an apartment, we had bought our mattress from someone that did Sharetown. And so I was like, how'd they get into this? And then, just did some digging and figured it out. And we're like 3 or 4 or 5 months in?
Yeah, that's awesome. What
Yeah.
do you guys do outside of Sharetown?
I'm an accountant.
And I am transitioning from a special education field to more of a social work field currently.
Okay, awesome. So it's been
Yeah.
pretty feasible then for you guys to do your 9 to 5s and work this
Yeah.
side hustle.
I do it after work, and we usually take Tuesdays and Wednesdays off to just have those days for ourselves. And yeah, after work and on the weekends we're Sharetown and
I will say that Spencer's main hobby, even before Sharetown even got started, was Facebook Marketplace. And so not much has changed there for him. So he can still be on Facebook Marketplace, but it's actually for a reason, not just what's the next ATV I can buy.
Yeah.
there
That
you
makes
go.
sense. I love that. So what made you guys actually pull the trigger and sign up?
Just kind of looking for other streams of income, looking for some way to make some extra money. Yeah, it's been pretty lucrative for us.
Yeah, the cost of living is just so expensive over on this side of well, really everywhere right now, but especially over on this side of the state. I think he was a little bit shocked to see. I grew up on this side of the state, but I think when he moved over here, he was like, "Whoa, what is going on?" And with him being an accountant, he's such a money and or just like numbers guy that he was like, we need to make sure that we're bringing in enough to support us long term. And at the time, I had gotten injured in my workplace, so I wasn't able to work. And so it was super helpful to kind of make up for why I wasn't bringing in at the time.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys found Sharetown. Yeah, you guys are actually technically we're in the same region, so we are competition. And it has been amazing to see you guys just come in straight out the gate and just go full speed ahead. I was able to pull some of your guys' stats, and just in your first month alone, so you had 20 pickups and you sold 19 units of that, so 95%. Yeah, it looks like your gross sales was about $5,000 just in your first month. Do you
Yeah,
remember how your first week felt or what your first pickup was like, any of that?
I
It
think
was
for
memorable because we didn't have any of the supplies yet. It had like we had ordered all of them, but we weren't expecting to pick anything up right away. And then Spencer's like, "My gosh, we got our first pickup." And he sent me a screenshot and he was like, "Should we just go get it tonight?" I was like, "I don't know how we don't have any of this stuff." And so we did it anyway, and Spencer, put the mattress on his, like, back and hauled it to the car, and, I mean, then we had to, like, we were in my car, which is an SUV, we weren't in the truck, and so we had to, like, put all the seats down, maneuver it in. It was funny. We have a picture of our first pickup, and it's just funny to look back on because now it's so different.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that is a memorable first pickup for
Yeah,
sure.
it was.
Yeah, it's really cool that you guys were able to experience, what it's like to go out even before you get your supplies. I know that's a really big worry sometimes before reps get their first pickup, just like, wait, what do I do? You can kind of feel like a fish out of water, but as
Yeah.
you guys have learned, it becomes just like second nature. Now you just walk in and get it done.
Now every time we use those, you get on Amazon, those mattress bags, those
Heart back.
they're like tarp style kind of
Yeah.
bags. That's what we use just for picking everything up. And so now it's like, I always have those on deck ready to go. But that first one, we just were like, what do we even, how do we even grab this? So
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah. They are a lifesaver now. And you were just able to manhandle that. Just threw it on your back, huh?
uh,
So you kind of mentioned what your typical week looks like for Sharetown. Can you go into that a little bit more in depth? How do you really find the time to split between your regular 9 to 5, both of you are working, and then still finding the time to really just keep hustling like you guys are?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's what you prioritize and it's about
Yeah.
making time. It's definitely not something that you can spend 20 minutes and do it. It's a little more involved than that, but, um, the rewards I think far outweigh the time sink. And yeah, we like I said, I work 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it, and then go do our pickups in the, like, if it's a weeknight, we do it in the evenings, like between 5 and 7 or 8 o'clock. And then on the weekends we obviously can do more of morning or afternoon pickups um on those days.
Yeah, I will say Spencer is a very dedicated individual, and it's a love hate relationship I have with this quality of his. If he puts his mind to something, he's going to get it done, and
Mhm.
there will be no breaks in between.
Mm.
Um, and so when he sets something for pickup, or he needs to go get bagging done or anything like that, he's going to go do it. I think you have to be very regimented, to have the motivation to keep going. And that's something that he does extremely well, where I lack, that motivation. It has been super helpful in terms of Sharetown.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I mean, you have that grit to just keep going and find it, and you really need that in sales. So I always just say, stick it out and keep trying, and you'll see the results come in. And really, you guys have proven that over and over again. As you guys have gone on, your months and months have grown for your income. Do you have any special Browns tips that really just help you when it comes to listing and selling, and anything that helps you think sell faster that maybe new reps would want to know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I feel like some of it is kind of common sense stuff, but maybe it's just not, some of that common sense stuff just isn't as common sense as I think.
But also you have to think that not everybody is as Facebook Marketplace in like geared as you. So I think that it's not common sense, but I think it's just, things that you know how to do that people might not.
Yeah, just making sure that you're, frequently, repost or redoing listings for the same, like sometimes I'll have, 4 or 5 listings for the same mattress because, I have 4 or 5 hooks out there instead of one. Using different pictures, different descriptions, things of that sort, posting in the groups, being super, friendly when people reach out and not just, not giving them a one word answer, or just, really putting time and, like, offering, I'm here to help, with any questions you have, anything like that. I find really helps. And then, after a lot of sales, I'll be like, hey, if you enjoyed the, service I provided, I'd love if you could leave a review. And I've found as I keep going and get more positive reviews that a lot of people are like, yeah, I saw I was a little bit leery about buying a returned mattress, but, after seeing how good your reviews were, I, jumped in and was willing to do it. And so that can kind of, as the snowball goes, you can kind of get more sales that way when they see your great reviews.
To say that a big thing for me at least is I love talking to people. My family jokes I've never met a stranger. And so when we go pick mattresses up from people's houses, Spencer's kind of more like head down, let's get the mattress and get out of here. I just like to chat with the kids, with everybody, but I've noticed that does help because, it shows that you're not just a delivery service, you're actually like a human being.
Oh, okay, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
started with that
So,
customer service and it went a long way.
Yeah, we have a couple.
So, tell me a little bit about how you store the mattresses or what your process is of kinda setting up your storage, setup.
Yeah. So we'll go pick them up, um, bring them to storage, and they're kind of, in those tarp style bags. And then, sometimes they don't get like sanitized and bagged that same day if I like have a busy day picking up. So then I'll, get to it in the next day or two, get them all sanitized and bagged up. And I kind of have basically just a bed frame, like a Cali King bed frame that I'll have like 1 or 2 mattresses laying on, and then it's kind of works as a workstation, so I can kind of lay a mattress on top, sanitize it, make sure it's all good to go, and bag it up, and then I'll just kind of stand them up in the back of the unit, and
He has them meticulously organized. Do not let him fool you. He drags those. If I'll be like, "Oh, I'll help," and he's like, "No, no, nope. I got to make sure it's in the right place." So he does have a system. They're all separated by size and then brand and all that. So it's really quite a sight to see.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Do you feel like by doing that, it's made it easier for you when you go to sell to a customer or even when you have to do your inventory, just you're organized and you know where everything is?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, we have a couple right now. So in one unit is just all of our kings, and then the other unit is queens and twin XLs and fulls, and so then also some of the random, the minority of things that you get, like the ellipticals or the desks or things like that.
Do you feel like in paying for the storage units that it's been profitable still for you with what you're making once you sell the items?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely be profitable. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it is an expense, but it's also like, what else are if you don't have it at a garage or something, that you're not really there's no option. So
Especially when you're just starting out, the storage units, they have, a cheaper price, especially when you're just starting out and just looking to,
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
yeah.
Okay, so who normally responds to the Facebook messages when you get them? When someone is it Spencer as he's living on Facebook Marketplace?
primarily, and then I'll have Taylor post stuff too whenever she gets a chance, but primarily me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you said, having multiple things out there for one item and having that hook out there, that goes as well as having your helper post on the face because you never know how the algorithm's going to take that. So that's another great
Exactly. Yeah.
tip on
Yeah,
what to do.
it's funny when they realize they're like, "Oh, I'm talking to somebody else about this same mattress," and I'm like, "Oh, is his name
Yeah.
Spencer?" I'm like, so it's just funny when people realize that we work together and not separately. It's pretty funny.
I love that. So then I guess either one of you can answer this question. I have a couple of questions about how you handle those messages that come in. So I think we've all experienced the lowball offers. We get the offers that really just are way below even what the discount we're already offering. Do you have like a script, what you say to them when those come in?
I mean, honestly, typically, if it's like, if it's a $500 item and they offer $50, I know at that point it's not really a serious offer.
Mhm.
It's not really worth my wasting my time giving them a response, to be completely honest. Um, you know, if they come in more at like a 50% offer, okay, I can maybe start to work with you. But, when they come in at like $50 on a $500 item, you're not going to get a reply from me.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah. Usually when I get lowball offers, my first my text to Spencer is, "How do I respond to this?"
Mhm.
Because he usually knows exactly what to say, and I'm like, "Oh, doesn't that sound a little harsh?" And he's like, "No, like, we're already offering 50% off or more of this, high dollar item. They can't
Yeah.
think that they're gonna get it for, $100 when it's listed for 600."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's kind of my approach too when it comes to people just asking, or, if you want to get, 10, 15% off, okay, like I'll work with you. But people that want to get, 50+% off, it's like I'll kind of tell them, it's already,
yeah.
a lot of times a third or half of retail price, and it was, used for whatever it was, a week, 2 weeks, a month.
Mhm.
So, I kind of explain that way, and people kind of understand, and they're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're anchoring with that retail price. Like, hey, you're
Yeah.
already getting a really good discount. That's
Yeah.
smart. I like that. You guys really balance each other up then. You said many differences where maybe Spencer wants to handle it one way and Taylor's like, wait a minute, but it always works out. That's the opening. But something that, should be mentioned is was it a month or 2 months that you had just gotten married and gotten back from your
Yeah, we got married October 4th, 2025, and we started Sharetown
Sometime
December,
in,
like almost 2 months exactly after. Yeah. So it was a busy year.
Yeah, and typically December can be a slower month too. So not only were you guys fresh out the gate, newly married, handling your 9 to 5s, but somehow you still found that grit to like keep going and really just show what's cool as rookie reps. So it's truly amazing. You guys have done a wonderful job. Do you think that there is something specifically that you would have wanted to know as a brand new rep right out the gate that you didn't know until later on?
That's a good one.
I think it's really easy to feel overwhelmed at the beginning, and, I don't want people obviously, feeling overwhelmed is normal, but I want people to know that, like, everybody feels it, and it's a lot, and there's a lot to learn, and obviously, I'm not doing it alone, so it helps, but, just knowing that, okay, everyone's here to help and that, we're not competition, we all can help, each other. I think that would have been really valuable to know, as well as just the amount of mattresses that we have to mark for disposal because they breach.
Yeah.
That smell in their house, and then
I think we were so afraid to like mark something for disposal because we're like, oh no.
Mm.
But now we're kind of like, okay, well, we can't remove this smell. No one's
Yeah.
going to want to buy it. So I think we've gotten more comfortable. And I think that would have been good to know too when we were just starting out that, it's okay to have something. It's not your fault.
So it would have
yeah.
been good for new reps to, or for you to, as new reps, to really know that the policy that Sharetown expects is that if it's going to take you more than 30 minutes to clean that item, dispose of it, and
Yeah.
we'll pay you for that disposal.
Yeah.
Which honestly, even to this day,
Yeah. You don't do it as much
even
as
to
you
this
should.
day, I frequently will spend like an hour plus on a mattress.
When did it click for you that this was more than just a little side hustle?
Probably, that first month, when things kind of took off pretty quick. I don't think it like, it wasn't like the first week. Like I said, I think kind of everything started happening towards the end of that first month, where it just started rolling. And then,
We've been at
and
a
then
steady roll
yeah,
since.
and then at that point we were just like, okay, it's becoming something we can really do. And yeah, we're hopefully going to be able to buy our first place soon. Get out of the renting life and actually own something.
Yeah. Which we wouldn't have been able to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, and Sharetown's been definitely a help in that because I mean I have my main job, but it's been good to have some supplemental income to help save money and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I think when I first realized I was like, okay, this is not just a side gig was when I had to sit Spencer down and be like, okay, we both work 9 to 5s. We're doing this Sharetown on the side. But we're also newlyweds. Like we need to intentionally set like date time or like date night like outside, and so that's when we implemented the Tuesday and Wednesdays no share town, and then one weekend day. And that has been really good for not only just like our relationship, but also for mental health and physical health and all of that, because they're just days that we can come home from work and just sit. And so that's been really nice. And he has to take a ferry to work. And so he gets up at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So on you said Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you don't do Sharetown, correct? So you're not doing pickups.
Yeah.
Do you have automated replies on for messages that come through, or do you still just kind of respond to those, or you just will get back to
Yeah,
you
I'll
during
I'll
business hours?
Yeah, I'll respond to stuff like, even while I'm at work, I just work on a computer so I can get on my phone, every couple hours or whatever on a break and reply. So I'll still reply, but I'll just set up, appointments to meet up or check stuff out on the days when we're doing it.
Yeah.
I love that. How do you guys stay motivated when it's slow or things don't go as planned? I think we've all experienced through our Sharetown journeys a time where maybe just pickups aren't coming in, and maybe items aren't moving as fast as you're used to. How do you guys handle that? What keeps you motivated?
Um, I feel like because it's not our main thing, like that's fine for us, because we have our regular jobs. It's kind of just the side hustle. So it's like, sometimes if they're not coming in for a little bit, we're like, all right, we get a little bit of a break. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're
Yeah.
like stressing over it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I also think that the motivation also comes from the fact that once you sell something, there's the opportunity that you get something that will sell even quicker. And like, you just never know what your next pickup is going to be. And so I think that has kept us both really motivated of like, like, oh, what if we get a purple next time we pick up? Or, oh, what if we get a fun couch? Or, and so, well, at least me, the amount of, I feel like I could just start like a furnishing business. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we get so much cute stuff.
We've bought a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
we,
ourselves.
yeah, it's dangerous too.
Yeah.
But I feel like that keeps us really motivated too of like, okay, well, once this is gone, it clears room for another, something else, and we don't know what that's going to be.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, we even buy stuff for like our family as gifts at this point. I mean, we're all of my sisters and brothers have new mattresses. My grandparents, my parents, everyone. I'm like Oprah with mattresses. You get a mattress. You get a mattress.
Yeah.
I love that. When you've got the hookup, you gotta share the wealth, so I totally understand
Yeah.
that. And not just good word of mouth, because then, they're gonna tell people, "Hey, I got this new mattress from Taylor& and Spencer, you should check them out,"
Yeah.
it just goes so,
Totally.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been really nice, and even like my mom's friends, they will buy, and then one of my mom's friends is a real estate agent, so then she
Mhm.
tells her clients, and so it just word of mouth works so well, and especially when you're from
Yeah.
a small island like I'm from, everybody talks, and so it's really easy to get the word out there.
I love that. Okay, so what would you say to a rep who's a few months in and hasn't hit their stride yet? Taylor, you kind of touched on it earlier about not giving up, but do you guys have anything else you'd want to
Yeah.
add to that?
Um. Yeah, I would say it comes down to your approach to marketplace, I think, more than anything, because obviously, you're getting pickups, so you're probably sitting on items that you're just not selling. I don't know. It might not be the right thing to say, but I would say offer discounts just to get the ball rolling.
Mhm.
Which is sometimes what I'll do if there's a little bit of a lull. I'll, be like, if someone messages on something, I'll be like, hey, actually I can give you $50 off, or
Yeah.
just to kind of get some sales rolling, especially, like we'll do that sometimes to, keep the ball rolling for our accelerate. We want to keep, rising through the ranks. And, so sometimes, especially those kind of lower tier items, it's nice to just keep those moving through so you can get because like we have 2 storage units, so we only have a limited amount of space. So if
Mhm.
we can clear out some of those lower tier items and maybe not make as much on them, then we can get in some higher tier things that can make a little more revenue.
Yeah, I would say that like the biggest thing is if you can just get like if you're haven't hit your stride yet, but if you're just having like the periodic sale, I feel like when you do have a sale afterwards, you're like, woohoo, like kind of riding that high of like, nice, and so I feel like if you can kind of ride that high and stay motivated, which is the hardest thing to do because you're like, oh, like, let me go buy a new pair of shoes. And then, oh, now we're back to where we started.
Mhm.
And so I think that if you can kind of keep that momentum going and be like, okay, if I sell another one, I can buy 2 pairs of shoes. And then, just kind of setting little goals for yourself. Obviously, probably not shoes, but just little goals for yourself, little rewards here and there, I think has been really helpful to stay motivated, to stay active. And like we said, the financial freedom this has given us, like Sharetown has given us, like the opportunity to travel a lot more and not have to say no to things because I feel like that's a really like people are like, oh, want to go do this, want to go do that. And instead of being like, oh no, like we can't, being able to say yes and going to do all the things has ultimately been so good for us. And so I would say, you know, reward yourself, let yourself, you deserve a reward.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of getting yourself a little treat.
Yeah. I love that.
Spencer hates it.
My husband hates that in me too.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the biggest misconception people have about doing something like Sharetown? Have you met any kind of skepticism or anything like that?
Yeah. People think we work for like Uber or DoorDash or like, something like they don't understand what the company is.
I know for like myself, I was met with, "You're selling used mattresses. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like
There's
that,
definitely that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like misconceptions from people wanting to, potential buyers because they're like,
Mhm.
you know, well, are these actually clean? Are these actually I've had many people be like, are these actually trial period returns? Are you like just going and buying people's old mattresses and reselling them? I'm like, nope. They're all official trial period returns. They're, anything that's not basically, 99% perfect, we dispose of. They're not only the good stuff is sold. Everything else that has defects or stains or smells is disposed of.
The tried and true response to that is if my mom has a mattress from us, then we tell people if she can sleep on one and be okay and feel comfortable, you'll be fine. Because she is a really harsh critic when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Love that. Yeah, I like to tell people, I just, hit them with the, "Have you ever slept at a hotel?" Because I
I
promise
do
you
that
my
all the
mattress
time.
is more
Yeah,
clean than that. I put the time and effort.
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
I tell people that all the time.
I